he's somebody or she's somebody. Okay, but anyway, she keeps working, keeps studying, just keep moving. Then later on, lots of students, when they finish the degree, they choose to be a pharmacist. Pharmacist salary is pretty okay. But in the United States, if you work for a pharmacist, any drugstore, you just have to continuous every shift for 10 hours. During the 10 hours, you couldn't sit. You cannot sit during the 10 hours when you are in drugstore. And you are not allowed to eat. For 10 hours, you might be hungry. No sitting, no eating. You can only drink a little bit water, and you just can go to the bathroom for 2 times, 3 times. That's how it works. So sometimes you feel, oh, that job I like because that job can make good money. But you have to try it. Is that really you want? Okay, you cannot see everything just from the appearance or the surface or the whatever. So then when my daughter decided that's not the life she wants. So she decided to apply for the fellowship, 2 years after just something similar like postdoc. Anyway, it's so competitive. So many people trying to get a fellowship position, but I don't believe that. My husband doesn't believe that either. Then she applied for a 2 years contract fellowship. FDA, the Federal Drugs and the
Administration.
Yes, administration. It's the top one, the top government unit for we have the CDC, something like that. Okay, that fellowship was hired by FDA, by Purdue University, and by a very big pharmaceutical company. Three units hired her as a 2-year contract doing something for medication safety, that issue. So from her story, then you can see you never give up. You just do whatever you should like to do. Okay. And another story. Oh, I have so many stories. My eldest daughter. Okay. She had a psychology degree in Taiwan, Chongsan University. I think that everyone medical school is good. But actually, you see the psychology look good. They make money. Actually, it's not easy. If you study the psychology, you have to get a further master degree in order to get a license. Okay, that's a long way. So you can see at least 50% or more students, when they decide to go to the psychology, actually more than 50% after they graduate, they find a job not totally 100% not related to the field. Okay, so actually my eldest daughter Ivy, and she didn't like psychology. She didn't like study. She is smart. She's a very genius girl, but she didn't like study. She liked to play. She liked what? She liked basketball since she was very young. Okay, she just played every weekend. She played all the friends, invite all friends, join all the teams. She liked to play basketball. But that's her hobby. But later on, after she graduated, she found a job. She just likes to take care of some competition, marathon 比赛, something like that. Just being an administration job. But she didn't make that much money. So I told her, I give you 3 years. If after 3 years after you graduate, then you nothing, then you should listen to me. Then fine. So it's true. It was true. After 3 years, I said, you go out, you go to the United States to pursue whatever you want. Okay. And later on, her English also good. Okay. And she applied New York NYU and for sports business. Okay. Something similar to her interest. But after she complete 2 years program, master degree, it's hard for her to find a job. Okay, but later on, she said she got a job from NBA. NBA after every game, they have to collect the video to send to the headquarters of NBA, and group of people, they will evaluate the performance of the referee. It's very, very professional NBA. Okay, so she was the one of the group. She used to like to watch the game, NBA game, every time. But now she has to, because every day she has to review so many videos. Okay, then they have to stay in the dark room, continually watching the videos. But that's a 2-year contract. Okay, after 2-year contract, she looks like she lost the job again. Okay, and I didn't know. I just know she's still, trying to get a very low level referee license 裁判的执照 for the youth 年轻人的那个小孩子。And finally, she got a job. She passed. There were about over 300 people applying for the MBA. They call the roots. Okay, for preparing for become a formal referee for NBA. In your impression, have you ever seen a female referee in NBA game? Very rare, right? Not too many. Okay, then she was lucky at them because they started a new program to trying to raise a new, no matter the sex, boy, girl, both are fine. Okay, my daughter, she's only about 163 cm, not too high, especially in NBA game. Well, I was so worried. Oh, you probably were knocked out. You're just too small being there. But anyway, from over 300 people, and through several interviews, phone call interview, and the final, it takes about over 3 months. Okay, and the final there were 12 people left in order to compete the 6 positions, and actually she was one in the 6 out of from over 3. Then she was, she got a salary from NBA. Then someday her dream is to become a NBA female referee. That's her dream. So far, because of the last year have the COVID, so she cannot pass the test in order to getting up. But that's okay. But the director of the referee, they think she's good, so they invite her, give her a formal administration job. But at the same time, she still can during the evening, during the weekend, she still to do she just passed the division, the highest from the college, university. Now just one game for being a referee, she can make over $900 US, just one game. And for November, there are 8 games. For December, there will be 9 games. But anyway, that's not the limit. She wants to become NBA referee someday. Okay, even though NBA referee, it's not that much money you can make, but that's something you make your dream come true for your life. Okay, so I think I'm very proud of my 2 daughters. I think they really try very hard for their life. Okay, so just let you know, then don't feel frustrated with anything, because this way you're frustrated, there are so many other ways to go. Okay, just find yourself. Okay, all right, hi everyone. I hope you can see me. 我现在已经可以 share screen 了，是不是 ？OK， then
已经帮你 share 了。
So I have to put on my USB. So today we are together doing lots of the practice for the debit credit. Then everyone can get more and more familiar with that. Now 可以开始录了，那个。
所以是现在才开始吗？然后我再剪掉吗？
There won't be midterm next week, but the week after, because we are slow from the starting point. You 知道我刚才的故事吗？我刚才的故事是 我的大女儿为了要成为 NBA 的一个，她从小的一个梦想，因为她太小只，她本来想打那个 WBA 就是女子篮，163怎么打？结果后来呢，我也不知道她 why，then she decided to become a referee。然后我的二女儿呢，从小功课就普普，然后尤其数学又极差，然后还可以说这样考到数学20分，花了这么多钱给她。但是呢，他最后还是成为他想要的人 ，OK？ 一个很重要的事情 ，You never feel discouraged， 你不要永远觉得自己很对自己否定哈，那就是很重要的事情。Okay, from chapter 2, the most two important thing you have to understand the account. One is the prepaid account. You can prepay several things. You prepay rent, you prepay certain fees. 好，预先付些费用。You prepay, the utility bill or something. As long as you prepay, you pay the money in advance, which means you own, even though the money is out, but at the same time, you own the right. As long as you have the right, which means they are your assets. 好，只要有权利，它就是你的资产。As long as you have the control right, okay, as long as you have the title, okay, then they are your assets. Okay, this is something you have to remember from last time. And also from the liability, another side. If you pay something in before, okay, no, you receive something. I just say you pay something in before, but if from the other party, they receive your money in before. They receive the money, which means at the same time they have the right, but you owe them obligation. As long as you have the obligation, then they are your liability. So it's very easy to distinguish. You owe someone something, then that's liability. You have the right, then that's your assets. Okay. So unearned revenue is an account. You receive something, but actually you haven't paid out yet. For example, they order service from you. Someone orders service from you. They say, okay, I will give you $1,000. Could you please come to my house, clean the garden next Tuesday? So today you receive the money, but actually remember the recognition of revenue. What is revenue definition? When can you recognize the revenue? When you earned something. So for this example, people pay you $1,000, then you will provide service next Tuesday. But for today, this Tuesday, you haven't provided service yet. Since you haven't provided service yet, which means the revenue is not earned. Since it's not earned, so it's still your obligation. 因为你还没有赚得，你没有提供服务，所以你的 unearned revenue becomes your liability， 就是你的负债。Okay, until you provide service, then the obligation become the revenue. Then the question is, how do you express the revenue? The obligation becomes revenue. So that's the issue for the accounting grammar, which is debit and credit. Okay, so we should get used to do more practice about that part. Okay, that's something from last week, very important. So we finished 2-2, I remember. Okay, then we'll start from here. But your book is the new version. Actually, I think the old version from last year is much complete comparing to your new version. 好，今年这本删了很多。For example, this page is pretty much important, but actually it doesn't show up on your textbook. So everybody just read this page. I think it's very important. Several very important terminology, 一些专业的名词。Okay, we said you analyze something, you have the source, the invoice or the receipt, 有一些相关的资料。Then you will, after you decide the source, the 资料, the document are valid, then you will record. But you record on what? General journal, just like a book. 像你今天写日记 ，OK？ 所以你要记录到哪里 ？You record on general ledger. We say GJ, general ledger. General journal. Journal is just something similar like a diary, 像日记簿一样。Then in the general journal 就是你每天 record your daily transaction. Then another word, we have so many accounts. Okay, like cash is an account, accounts payable is an account, and we just say prepaid is an account. We have so many accounts. Okay, if you didn't ever learn accounting, then I will say they are vocabularies. 我们有这么多的会计科目 ，OK， 我说这就好像我们在学单字 ，OK。But those accounts, you may also call they are ledger. So ledger is a, the similar like accounts, okay. And we also have T account. What is T account? For example, we'll show that later. Probably I should explain later. For example, we have, do it later, otherwise we'll get confused. Just skip the T account. Then we have debit and we have credit, okay? Then we have what is double entry. Double entry means all the transaction, no exception. There should be something happen on debit, and of course, there will something happen on credit. So when you have a transaction recorded on debit and credit, we call that double entry accounting, okay? And there's an action. We say you have to record some transaction on your general journal. So that action we call that journalizing. 所以我们把它登记 recording something on your book. Then that action we say that is journalizing. 好，登记入的账簿 journalizing. Okay? And this is the most important. Then we do debit and we do credit. What's that? Then entry. 好 entry 就叫做中文叫做分录，这个很重要啊。Entry 这个字你一定要说，因为有到时候考试的时候说 ，Would you please do the entry for the following transaction? Then you should know you are asked to do debit and credit for each transaction. So entry 分录，好，就是借贷的这个意思。Entry or people say journal entry, they are the same. Entry, E-N-T-R-Y 就是分录，好，这个录注意要是这个录，不要把它写错那个录。Journal entry. And when we say we have a daily transaction recording, you are journalizing everything for every event, transaction for every day. Then later on you have to classify, or we say summarize. For example, 11 November 2nd today, we have a debit, credit, cash something, for example, or another account is 1,000, 10,000, and we have another entry. You have to get something, then you pay out cash 2,000, credit. Then you have the third transaction, and you purchase something with cash, then you pay out cash for another $500. So this is we are saying for the journalizing. You record all transactions or on your journal book, okay? But the problem is your director, your boss asking you, Melody, how much the cash we have? In that case, do you have to count from the first one, the second one, the third one? then you will, what about you, during that day, you have 20 transactions and 10 out of them are related to cash. Then you have to trace all the transactions. It won't do that, okay? Because now it's a computer error. Everything uses system. So in that case, we have a account calling cash. This is the account, or this is the ledger. Then you know we're posting. This is what I just mentioned, T account. So here is debit. I put 10,000 here. Here is credit. I put the credit here. Here's another credit. I put it here. This action from your book to your individual account, we are saying we are doing the posting. 中文叫做过账. Okay. So posting here means you put a specific account. You draw the number from your journal book to your specific group or specific account. Then you can get summary very fast. You can tell because the posting from the computer information system or accounting system, they will do it automatically. So every time you insert or type on the transaction here, then they will automatically go to the right place. Right place for each account and the right place from all debit or credit. So we call that posting. So normally the posting will done very easy and fast by the system. Okay. So that's a general terminology for the beginning. How do I going to get further? Okay. So we said we have a ledger. Okay. Here the ledger is ledger can be like the cash. Okay. Ledger can be like the asset, liability. This the summary of the something. Okay, that ledger, we have so many individual ledgers, but put all together, they call general ledger, 总分类账. Okay, so general ledger is just like a list of all the accounts from assets, liability, and equity. 总分类账就是把所有的细的会计科目列一个 list, it becomes a list, okay? So it's a collection of all accounts for an information system, okay? So depends on the company's accounting policy, depends on the company features, 一个公司特色哈 depends on the complexity of the company, okay? Then you decide your general ledger size. Can be very big and can be small. Okay, if you are台积电 TSW, Taiwan Semiconductor, okay, then that's a very huge company, and actually it has so many branches internationally. Okay, in that case, your general ledger should be very, very big size. But if you just just a regular company from the Wu Feng, then their general ledger can be just very short list. Okay, so it depends on. So it's a chart of account. Chart 就是表单啊 chart. Something similar like this. Something we need to provide a code number. Usually it may be normally can be 4 digits to no more than 6 digits. Okay, so from the first number of the digit, you can tell whether they are assets, whether they are liability or equity. Then you go further. So I should attach a reference, 给你们一个补充资料 from the whole general ledger from Taiwan for Taiwan. 台湾有一个专门的商业司公告的这个 account number. So, but the account number is not mandatory for or the same for every company. Every company, their information system should build up their own digit rule. 好，怎么样去采的号码 But why you need the account number? Because whenever you receive any document, you decide to record on your journal, then you just key in the digit number. You don't need to write the accounts, revenue or expenses. You just get the number. So most time, if you've been working for being an accountant for like 1 month or 3 months, it's so easy for you. Just remember the account number for each account. Okay. When I was just graduated from my university, and at that time I entered into the national telecommunication company, 电信局, before I went to United States to get a degree. So at that time, I was international operator. In my age, I'm very old. In my age, for now, you want to call anyone, so easy. Just pick up the phone. In my age at the time, people, if they want to make an international phone call, they normally have to dial number 100. Then we are the international operator, then we help to connect. Okay, or some international coming from outside, then they require the people here to pay the bill for them, whoever want to make a phone. Then we help to ask whether, can you accept a phone call from whoever? Okay, then we connect the phone call. So we have to, yes, they try to, then several from international operator, they will call us asking for a specific hotel phone number, something like that. So at that time, it's so easy for me. I almost remember all the hotels in Taipei. Just ask me, then I give you the number right away. I don't need to check it out. So I think that's a good training for someone. I just have to be an accountant. So whenever it becomes a habit, whenever I see the number, then it's so easy for me to tell something wrong. So people don't like to send the document to me because I'm not on purpose. I just easy to find out the problem. So 对数字 very sensitive, very sensitive. Okay, I don't know why. Okay, this is something for the chart. Okay, the chart, and see for the one you know that's all about the cash, the asset. For 2, that they are all about the liability. For 3, that's for the equity. For 4, they are revenue. For 5, the 6, I don't know why there's no 5. For 6, they indicate the expenses. So you can tell the first digit of the account number. Okay, so which means in the accounting chart, they cover 5 major categories. 5 major categories, which are assets, liability, equity, and revenue, and the expense. Which means you have to remember the equation we have mentioned so many times. Okay? For equation, anything, you see the equation here. Anything, the left side, we call that debit. Anything on the right side, we call that credit. So there's only one asset here. They are liability and equity going to credit. Later on, we made a change because we mentioned that for equity, their equity means the right of the, here, this is an asset. Some people just right here, just you can, or wherever you haven't really clearly understand the equation you have, then you try it again. Okay, for the whole asset, it could come from the money or the investment or the company earning activity, they come out with the asset. It could come from the money you borrow from the bank or you owe someone money. Then, for example, you buy 10 computers, they give you the credit for 10 days, which means you can pay, you don't need to pay right away. You can wait for 10 days. In that case, you owe them money, then you still have the asset for 10 computers because they sent the asset already transferred the title to you. You own the 10 computers. But at the same time, this 10 computer is because you owe them money. So you have an accounts payable, 应付账款. Okay? So all the assets, either from the capital or the earning activity, 就是赚钱的结果 or they owe something from somebody else. Okay, so that's why the feature of the equation is just like that. How do you express the grammar? So we use debit and credit. Okay, so whenever you have this, then you know we have all the account 1, then it should, whenever it incurred. For example, we purchase some equipment. So definitely if you have some equipment, you have debit equipment and either cash or accounts payable, notes payable from credit. Okay, so that's how it works. So the further change is because we have capital, we have revenue, we minus the expense. So that's we call it earning activity. What is earning activity? How much money you made, that's revenue. How much money you spend, then that's expense. So you minus. This is the result of your earning activities. But for the equation, the grammar later on, and you also have to withdraw from the capital. So anything with a minor signal, you move to the left side. So that's why the revised equation, I'm going to leave it here. Then we have more practice and you can refer from here. So any assets plus capital withdraw plus expenses, then it goes to the equation left side. So the right side keeps away like any liability, any investment from the owner, any revenue. Okay? So anything about this, then you go to, this should put on the equation right side. So which means whatever happened, easy to tell debit or credit. Okay? So we're moving very quickly. For example, okay, so this is a T account. What is a T account? And later on, okay, well, I'm not going to say that. So this is very important double entry. You increase asset, then that would be the normal position is debit. But whenever you want to decrease, for example, you spend money to pay out something, then go to the other side. Then go to the other side, okay? The same thing. For liability, their normal position should be go to the credit. Whenever you reduce, decrease the balance of the liability, then they should go to the other side, which is debit. Okay? Same thing for equity. The normal position, like capital, like revenue, they should put on the credit side. Whenever you reduce, then you go to the debit side. So is that easy? Actually, only 2 dimensions. 我们只有在会计的等等是只有2 dimensions. We don't have the third one. So why you get confused? Okay? So I always mention it's so important for this equation. Once you make sure you understand their right position, then no matter what, how they change, even you go to the intermediate accounting, 中会, even you go to the advanced accounting, whatever, we have more and more vocabularies. 我们有这么多的单字, but they are all applying for the same grammar rule. 一样的道理. You are learning more vocabulary, more account, that's it. But they all go to whatever. Even you go to someday, you take the advanced accounting, but they still belong to these 5 categories. Okay, no exception. So as long as you know definition for the 5 categories, then you definitely know the debit or credit side. But that's not just accounting, not that easy. But for the beginner, I said it's enough for you. Okay, how to be a bookkeeper, 怎么样做一个记账师 ? Okay, so this rule is very important for So I'm going to skip that. So this is more advanced equation. Okay, you have, something withdraw the rep expenses, and then later on, focusing on the equity. Okay, so this is finally the summary. We call that balance. 每一个的借贷的 summary. Okay, finally the number we call that balance. Okay, so if I'm asking what's the balance of the cash, we just mentioned the example. Then you should tell the boss. Oh, we still have. After we check the account, individual account, we still have $7,005 money because you know the word balance means. Balance means 余额。好 ，balance 的中文叫做余额，也就是 the final summary of each account。好，最后一个 account 的数字。OK， 所以 OK， 那我们 take a short break. We're going to have the 2 gas decrease. OK, so everybody please. Log in your Tron class, we'll do it later. Okay. 我来休息一下。The total amount debited must always equal the total amount credited. 所以这就是我们的 equation double entry 左边总共的数字是一样，所以 of course it's true. OK. 这一题如果 if you got it wrong, I don't forgive you. You should get it right. Total debit equal total credit. Okay, 总借等于总贷。Number 2, credits always increase account balance. Not necessary. Okay, if you are the one in debit, for example, cash. You increase something, just like example, you increase something, since cash goes to debit. So whenever you increase something, you put it here. Whenever you decrease something, you put credit, something like that. So the question is, credit always increase account balance. If the original account is goes to the supposed to debit, then you put on credit, it's decreasing, not increasing. But for example, if you are having a liability account, okay, which you have accounts payable. So whenever you purchase something, then you increase your payable. So there should be, like here, you bought a Mac with $50,000, okay, like this. If you buy a computer, because computer is the item of the assets. So whenever you increase a computer, you put a debit. But if the store let you pay within 3 days, so on that day you have accounts payable because you haven't paid cash yet. So you create from here. So you have debit, credit. So later on, when you are pretty familiar with the rule, the grammar, so I don't need to tell you the story, the transaction. You can tell from the entry right away. Oh, you see the entry, there's a debit computer, there's a credit AP. So you can tell the story right away. Oh, this company, they purchased a computer with a credit sales. Credit sales means you haven't need to pay yet. So in that case, for liability, you increase on, whenever you have increase, you put on the credit side. Later on, 3 days later, you need to pay off the AP. So you need to pay off AP with cash. So you use cash. So the cash goes from debit to credit. Then you need to erase your AP. Okay, so how do you know you write it off? Because when you post in here, it's the debit position, you post into debit. So now you don't owe anything. Okay, so then in this case, whenever you want to decrease a liability which are supposed to be credit, then you go to debit. Okay, so this answer, of course, should be wrong. Okay, fourth. Number 3, assets account normally have credit balances. Normally, no, because assets is on the equation's left side. So assets supposedly should go to debit. Okay, debit. So it is wrong in the beginning. And the revenue account normally have debit credits, but revenue is on the equation right side. So revenue normal position should be on credit. Okay, so this answer should be false again. Okay, number 4, an owner's capital account normally has a debit balance. No capital is here, the right side of the equation. So the normal position should be credit. Okay, so it's false again. The last one, the owner's withdrawal account normally has a credit balance since it is an equity account. Answer me. Normal, the capital withdrawal, do you think it's an equity account? Credit, let me ask again. The owner's withdrawal, listen carefully. The owner withdrawal, is it an equity account? 就是业主提取是一个权利的科目吗 ？Is it an equity account? Owner's withdrawal, you take the money from the company, means withdrawal. Like you go to the ATM, you want to withdraw money, okay? You want to deposit money, then you want to withdraw money, okay? So if there's a capital withdrawal, owner's withdrawal, the withdrawal, is it a equity account? Yes or no? Yes, please raise your hand. If you agree that withdrawal is an equity account, please raise your hand. Okay, 1 from Lisa, good. What about the others? So you don't agree? Is that if not equity, then what it is? Really?
Source the part is equity account.
我刚刚问那个业主提withdraw是不是权利的科目？是不是权益的科目？如果你觉得不是，那它是什么？总共就不资产负债有权益啊。业主提取，你觉得是属于哪一类？
资产。
资产，可是业主提取不是把钱提出来了吗？
权益。
业主的权益减少了，它跟资产有什么关系？它是不是如果真的是这样子的话，那我们不就是前面是 capital， 再讲一次 ，the original one。我们再 one more time. The components of equity covers 2 parts. One is related to the capital 资金 one is related to the operating result 的营运成果 These 2 parts total together goes to the equity. Okay, 观念上这样 So the question I just asked, the withdrawal, is that a equity account or liability or asset? 因为它会影响 impact on the capital. 如果它钱提走了，它的资本额就变少了。Okay, so the withdrawal is a equity account. That's right. But the problem is, whenever you withdraw money, which will decrease your capital, so that's why it's a minor signal. Okay, 它是个负号。Just like the expenses will reduce the total revenue. 费用会减少。As long as it's a minus, then you have to switch all the way here. So that's why you see a capital withdrawal here, you see an expenses here. Even though their original format should be like that. 原本应该这样子 but based on the math relationship, you for whatever the year, you need to put everything with this positive signal, 正符号 ，OK， 所以才会说 even though withdraw is the item of the equity, but the problem is its right position, okay, the balance should go to debit, 因为它在 the left side of the equation, okay， 所以任何这个 equation is very important， 你只要把这个记住，这剩下就是你要知道是你 whenever you have a account， 那它到底是属于哪一个？那你知道的话，就知道它的位置，它就是该借就借，它就是贷就贷。OK， 所以这个 answer should be false because withdraw should has a debit balance. Okay, so that's all for this one. Okay. Let's go to keep on going. Now we are going to the operating side. 就是怎么样作业。Okay, we know the stages. First one stage, you need to identify whether there should be a transaction or not. Transaction 就是交易。Source document 就指的 invoice, the receipt 啊，或 contract, whatever. Okay, so you identify they are transaction. You identify they have valid source document. If it's not valid source document, then you cannot record on the book. OK， 所以那个时候我们在很多的时候没有学过会计是对辨识那个发票这点很重要。发票 receipt. For example, if you walk into somewhere, OK, you will see a piece of small paper on the wall. They don't issue the invoice, 不给发票。本店免用统一发票，你们看过这字 ？OK， but the problem is they don't issue you an invoice, but you still need to buy something from this store, and you need to go back to your original office to report the expense. Then they will say you need to give me the receipt. If you don't have the receipt, we cannot record on our book. OK， 没有收据不准做账。Then the problem is that small store do not required to issue the invoice. So they will give you what? They will give you receipt. 他会给你收据。But there's also some requirement if you want to use that receipt in order to get the money back. Okay, you need to 在小小的一张发票上面 ，OK, you need to get 亚洲大学 ，OK, the title of 亚洲 Asian University, you need to get the stamps. 我们在中国人的 Chinese culture, you whatever you use, not signature, use stamp. Okay, so for a store 一个店里面 they have a store stamp 店章 and they also need one more small stamp 是业主的自己的私章 so in order to file the money, get money back from your office or wherever, you need a receipt with the title of your Asian University and the two stamps, one from the shop, one from the owner. Okay, 一个是店主私章，一个是店长 then the amount, the unit amount and the quantity and the item. So that's why even though there's no tax ID number, okay, then you still can, that is still valid source document, 还是有效的东西。所以we are trying to check out all the statement from the each department student union. 你们每个学会很多都在做假账，因为他们都没有东西就随便乱糊弄。那我们 department I check. Okay, so the student union they for monthly report they should submit to me. Then not lots of things. I say I need a receipt. For example, last semester they short $8,000. It's common. Then what happened with $8,000? Then the accountant said because the cashier she didn't provide me the receipt. And why she didn't give you a receipt? Then every time I asked the cashier, Tuna, come to my office, she never show up. Finally, she gave me some, they ordered some poster 做海报. I don't believe that the poster will cost $8,000. Okay, it's always happened. But the problem is I was too busy to check everything on in time. So when I found the problem, that's a couple months away, then you cannot reply anything, from that far. So that's also my mistakes. But normally I should check their monthly report. If that happened, they should give me the receipt right away. Okay, 所以在系学会里面常常发生上代在乱搞。That's a big money because you pay in the beginning of the 4 years. 有些人是一收4年的。所以呢 ，Student Union 我们的那个 club 里面，association 系学会其实握有很多钱，所以如果你们不好好去 monitor 他们，你们钱就被他们，不管是有心或无意的。Many years ago, before I started here in other university, 我们的 accounting, the student association, the chair, he took away $50,000 cash for what? Gambling 麻将。Okay. 就 happens, okay, happens. But I didn't say that the most 90% students are good. Okay, that's what about the 10%? What about the 1%? What about 5%? So we need a good system to control internal control for accountant. Okay, accounting book, accounting system. 所以从小的地方你会知道，其实我们生活里面 everywhere has the number, has the accounting. Okay, you should be careful, but because they are money. Okay, so step one, you identify. Then step 2, you make sure what position you should put. So the third one, you put on the journal book. So this is how it looks like, general journal. So specifically, you can see the date, the description, then you put a post number, then you have the debit and credit. Okay, so whenever each one is a one transaction, one entry. One transaction and one entry. 一个交易就会一个分录。Okay. Later on, you do the posting. Post to the individual account, individual ledger. Okay. From everything here, but normally because we are using the information system, computer system, I just mentioned that computer system will do the posting automatically right away. But if it's done by annually, normally with the posting where, it depends on how complicated, normally you do it once a week or, once every 2 weeks. Okay. 如果我们一般手工记账，你不可能每天都在过账。OK， 你一大堆事情不做就没做过账。但是因为现在系统都自动过账，所以没有这个问题。好 ，posting will automatically, know to classify to its individual ledger 到各自的账户去。Okay, so this is how it looks like. Okay, all right. So we see the journal book, general ledger. So this is very specific. I put it here. And this is something you need to remind you. Normally, whenever you have some dollar, you will prefer to put on the dollar sign, 好，金钱符号. But for the recording, you don't need to put any dollar sign. Okay, so see the example here. You have the year, you have the date, then you have the entry here. Entry means you have the account on the left and account on the right. And something important things you have to make sure you have the indent, 空格进去 indent. You cannot align them. If you align them, sometimes not easy to tell which one is debit and which one is credit. Okay, you need an indent. Okay, to easily to distinguish the part of debit and the part of the credit. 好，中间要隔开。Okay, then the description is the line here, receipt, investment by owner. You can do that or you don't want to do that. Okay, but most of the time I recommend or do the description. And the important thing is the debit and credit. No dollar sign needed here. Okay, so this is the first posting for the first transaction, and the second day you have the second posting for the second transaction. Okay. later on, when you need to put all the recording here to summarize to each individual account, we call that posting. So this is the ledger, or we say cash, or we say account. 好，现金是个可以叫做 ledger 分类，也可以叫做账户。Okay, so this is the individual one. So whatever the date you need to put on, and if it's debit, you put a debit. If credit, you put a credit. Okay. Then in this case, after you do the posting from your book, you can easily to see the balance, updated balance every time. 每一次都会新的一个余额 balance. Okay. So this is the case. I'm asking you, your boss asks you, what's the balance for today? Or cash? Or how much money we still have to pay for? Or okay, how much? Or the question is, how much is the check will be due very soon? So if you don't have the posting for individual account, then it's so hard for you to tell from the ledger book. Okay, so this is the one. Okay, but the thing is, let me see next. Okay, that's a bit later. So the 4 steps finally will post to a journal entry. Then the 4th step, then we can stick here. So after that, okay, you see from the entry, this is the entry. You post to the here, okay? Then I'm supposed to tell you what happened with the reference number G1, but I think you are not accounting, that's okay. Okay, G means here. G means general ledger, 总分类账 general ledger, general journal, 总日记簿 general journal. So you have a G1, G2, page number. But for each account, you have account number 101. So whenever you do the manually posting, 用手工做分类账的时候, then whenever you have done this, then from this cash, if you want to trace back, you know you should get to the G1 General Journal page 1 to find the information. Okay, so if you have the number here 101, then you should know 101. You can go to the account number 101 to find the information here. So it's just like double to and from, 两个方间 cross reference. 好，交叉的一些去找数字 ，OK， 所以这个 PR 的意思指的就是 posting reference， 然后方便你去 locate to the right place, right spot, OK。但是since we are doing the computer information system, it become not that important anymore. Okay, so this is the posting, then you should know what posting means. Okay, here we need to do lots of the practice now. Okay? So everyone, if you have your notes or whatever you can do before I explain, try to do the entry by yourself. We can also, after the illustration on the PPT, we can also do more practice of the entry from your exercise questions. Okay, 我们现在开始教你从 the transaction how to make an entry， 然后我们等一下再一直做细节。今天开始变得非常重要，怎么样做分录 ？OK， 好 ，based on the equation here. Okay, so the question one is owner invested. So try to see the question. Let them be using your accounting language to do the entry. 好，我们现在就要把一个交易用会计的文法把它变成一个分录的写法。Now you are training from the transaction to the entry. Later on, then you can see the entry to tell the transaction right away. You don't need to see the original transaction. Then you are good. OK， 如果你跟两边一下从这边可以判定什么叫分录，甚至之后可以从分录就马上知道交易什么，那这部分就算是成功。OK， so the first one, owner invested $30,000 in fast forward on December 1. OK, so officially you should put on the date if you are doing like the one we were here. Okay, you have the date on the left side. Okay, then. But for the practicing purpose in class, you don't need to do that so formally. Okay, so you can see this is most important here, entry, double entry. This is the one you should learn from by today, okay? You debit cash, then you credit tailored common capital, $30,000. Since the formal journal book will indicate the date and also the account number, but in class, you don't need to do that. So, oopsie, I should not do that. So, for practice purpose, then you only need to do for December 1, you have cash, you have tailored, capital with $30,000. This is how you should learn. Try in your own book. Okay, this is the first transaction. Debit, credit, and money also have the indent. Okay, this is the first one. The second one, fast forward purchase of supplies by paying $2,500 cash. Okay, in that case, it didn't show the date, and that's okay. Then let's say the first one, the second one. So you purchase something that's supplies. Supplies can be stationery supply, 就是文具用品, can be, we call that office supply, can be whatever the supplies, okay? But generally speaking, supply is something we'll support for your administration's expense needs, okay? 就是你的行政需求。所以我们通常 supply 翻成用品，或者有些中国的我们台湾的我们就是 Chinese 的 account 翻成用品盘存，用品盘存。So in English, you have supply, so which means the supplies is an asset. Okay, so asset go to debit. 玉玲知道吗？因为这个 supply 它是属于资产。后面的 wake up， 现在我们进入很重要 critical 的地方哈，所以你要经常练。如果 if you really feel so sleepy or tired, I don't mind to go to the bathroom, wash your face or do something and jogging, few minutes and come back. Okay. So since you pay with cash, so you reduce your cash. So you put cash from debit to credit. Okay. You are learning the grammar now. Okay, so with $2,500. So don't forget use the comma for 3 digits. It's a really good habit. If you don't keep the habit, someday you will get big trouble. As long as you have more one digit or you have a less 1 digit, then you got big trouble. Okay. 那我们的数字哈就是这么sensitive，对，一个数字就差了10倍 ，OK， 所以要用它们三位点来做那个 ，OK， this is the step number 2, entry, supplies, and cash. This is we are doing entry, okay. So I'm writing this for you, and later on you should do the exercise by yourself. Then I'll see your answer. So number 3, purchase equipment with cash again, but this time it's not supplies, it's equipment. So equipment is also asset account. So that's why it's also go to the debit. And again, you are using cash to pay the transaction. So debit equipment, credit cash with $26,000. $26,000. Okay? 我们在 in the United States, I don't know what about the South Africa or whatever. If in the United States, 我们要知道他们的 way to write number alphabet. Okay, for example, 你要写6的话，在美国人哈，他会这样子写。6 6。那如果你的 number 4呢，他们 write like this。OK， 那如果 number 6呢，他们 write like this， 这样子。那如果我们看这个字看不懂，那写什么？这个是6了，他们写成这样子，所以下次 if you have the chance to go to the United States, then you see how they write the numbers. Get used to it， 非常快 ，OK。所以你说，如果说我们习惯7这样子，那美国人不会写，他一定要加一个这个。那我们如果是4，我们这样子，那他们就不出头啊，就这样子啊。OK， 看，that is how they write. OK, number 3. Then OK, so far OK, you should follow OK. Otherwise, then the practice you will get trouble again. If you don't follow it, please raise your hand. Ask why I put the weight like this. Okay, follow OK, all right. Next one, fast forward purchase 7,100 of supplies. This is a keyword, on credit. On credit, which means they allow you for certain days to pay off the bill. Okay, you don't have to pay the cash right away. We call that on credit. On credit, okay? Why people late? Usually, why you are so late? Okay, if next time you don't have good reason, excuses, then I will lock the door after 30 minutes for first class. Okay, please try to be on time. Okay, so because we are right about time to get something very important, very critical. 好，这时候你就 on supplies, but same thing, you purchase supplies again. So this is the same account happen, but the problem is, how do you know? Like the paid cash, easy to use cash, but we're not paying cash, so new vocabulary happens. 新的单词出现 We say that accounts payable, but normally we prefer to use AP because once you learn accounting, everyone knows what the AP is about. So accounts payable means AP. Okay, so we have the dollar 7,100 and credit 7,100. So this is something new and very important because from last time, you only see the name, but you never know how it happens on the entry. Okay, it will only happens on any credit sale, credit purchase. Okay, so now you have a liability happens. Okay, so okay, number 4, everyone follow. Get it? Number 4. This is really important. You get supplies, then the way you pay with credit sale. Okay. Then next one, purchase services for cash. Purchase service, you order something. Let me see. Fast forward provide consulting services and immediately collects 4,200 cash. So in general words, I make $4,200. 你说我今天赚了 make money. But here, how do you express you are making money in accounting language? You make money. So we make money, and that means we create revenue. You make money for the business, then you create the revenue. If you are just a general service company, then you create revenue. If you are merchandising, if you are manufacturing company, then you create sales. 如果你是服务业，你就没有所谓的销货收入 ，sales 是销货 ，with nothing to sell. Okay, you use your brain, you provide a service, you sell your professional things. So we call that revenue. So actually, revenue is sales. Sales is revenue. Depends on the what kind of the feature of your company. 如果只是服务业，我们叫服务 revenue. 如果你是买卖业、制造业的话，你就是叫 sales， 因为你有卖东西。Okay, so here because the one company provides consulting service， 就顾问的服务。So that's why he make money. So this is very important. He receive cash. Once he receive cash, you put in the company. Okay, so you create cash with $4,200. But at the same time, you also create your operating result for the equity. Because equity covers not just the money invested by the founding owners or partners or shareholders. Equity also covers the result of the operation. Okay? So that's why you have the revenue here. So here is something you need to, because in the beginning, 一开始 lots of students confused with revenue because they saw the revenue should go to debit, because revenue 收入嘛，收入不就是一个公司的资产嘛？这个东西你要 distinguish is different. Revenue is part of equity. 你的所有的业主、合伙人或者股东的权利，因为你帮他公司 make money. But 公司 side, they do get cash. OK， 所以在我们写 entry 的时候 ，you should have 一个习惯 ，keep a habit. Comparatively, then you get what? OK, or in the same time, then what happened on the other side, debit or credit? Because for the double entry, all the transactions need to express both debit and credit. 所有的交易一定要在借贷上表达。所以像这个是最容易 confuse 的，赚了钱你就会觉得 revenue 收益就是属于资产，不是 ，revenue 是属于你的 equity 权益，然后你把钱放到公司去。Okay, so number 5, very important. Please don't get confused. These two are different. Okay, next one. Fast forward pays 1,000 cash for December rent. Pay the money to get something. Okay, here is he paid the cash right away. Not example we mentioned before. You prepay something. Like the example, you prepay the rent for the whole semester, which means if you pay 2,000 per month, then you are allowed to stay in the dormitory for 5 months. Totally, you pay in the beginning of the semester $10,000. In that case, your prepay is your assets that are different. That now you pay the rent month by month. Okay, you pay the rent with cash right away. So whenever that, which means the rent incurred already, 这个租金就已经发生。所以 I can erase here. 这边擦掉哦。So here you enjoy the right. So you have incurred expense here with cash. So which is $1,000. So again, expense is on the left side here. So whenever there are the expenses, the right position you should put on the debit because they are on the left side of the equation. Okay? So here you create a rent expense with cash. with cash. You reduce cash, that's why you put on the credit. You increase a expense item, so that's why the expense is over here. Okay, so this is the way for number 6. Right? Okay， 环境来稍微要进入状况哈。我们等一下会 more practices. Okay, we're almost done with this part. Okay, let's take a break. Next one. Okay, the next one. Fast forward pay 700 cash for employee salary. Okay, now we have a new word, new account, salary. Do you know we have 2 words in terms of the payment for employee? It can be either salary or it can be wage. Kevin, any difference between salary and wage?
I think salary is the end of the month, and then wage you pay after you work for the day.
Off the what?
Like at the end of the day when you work, then you get your wage.
So that means what? So easy to tell. If you work for full time, like I apply job, then what's my annual salary? 在美国 in the United States or lots of Russia, when you apply job, you're asking for my monthly salary or you're asking for an annual salary? Monthly, really? Oh, I see most of the Western countries they are saying, how about the
We also ask monthly.
monthly salary? But how come in United States, when you are applying job, it's saying about the whole year salary? So I got 100,000 US dollars for my 12 months annual. Okay, anyway, if you are saying for the full-time job, so your payment is salary. But if you work for part-time, like I get my paycheck every 2 weeks, something like that, then that we normally will say wage. Okay, a little bit difference. 如果你是工作是用月，就是日数来算的话，那我们就用 wage， WAGE 都叫薪资。但是你如果是每个月整，就是全职 ，you have to work 40 hours per week for the whole month. Then you are paying by salary. Okay. Then here's the thing for employee salaries. Okay. So salary is the new account. Okay. So we have salary is an expense. The company want to make revenue, but at the same time they need to pay the employee in order to let work for you. So salary is an expense. Since it's an expense, so it should go to Lisa. So if you are saying the expense, you're Lisa, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I said,
Who?
oh, you're Lisa too?
No.
Okay. So if we have a salary expense, okay? So it's a salary. I should put on debit or put on the credit.
I think it's
Debit? Yeah, good try. Really, salary 要上借还是贷？
贷。
我这边不是有这个东西，这个
借。
还是你这个借贷有点 confused？ 你明明知道是在讲左，结果你把它解成贷，左借右贷，左借右贷 ，OK？
OK。
那你们看到资产加如果有发生提取的话，有任何费用的话，它都属于借方 ，just like this. Number 6, you incur the rent expenses. That's why expense go to debit. Now you have salary expense. Why I'm wearing my mask? Now you are having salary expense. So pay with cash. Okay, so you do like this for the entry. That should be $700. Okay, so you have another new account. We call that salary expense. 薪资费用 OK， 中文叫薪资费用 with cash. That's number 7. Do you notice that whenever we have a entry, so after you have done your entry, the system will go directly to do the posting. Okay, so in that term, we have experienced 7 entry here, but all the 7 entry is related to cash. So whenever we have cash, like we have credit cash, so post to individual cash account with the number from here. So this is we call another term. 应该正常来说，这个 posting 是 to the journal entry, journal book. OK， 它的 posting 是到你的各自的 ledger 账上，每个账上。但是呢 ，in class 在课堂里面 ，for easy understanding, we use T account. 那什么叫 T account? What is T account? T account with account title, then with a description of what happened for debit and what happened for credit. So as long as you use T account in class or regular communication, 一般的沟通 T account is much easier comparing to the ledger account. 好，如果你看我们前面的那个用账簿，还写日期，还有点 description， 还写一大堆，可是这样的话就 much faster. So we have posting for 7 entries. If you are asking what's the balance for cash, easy. You total debit, you total credit, and the larger minus the less, then you get a balance for that one. Okay? 所以这就是 whenever you have an entry, then you need to post it to the individual ledger, individual account. Okay? So 这边是这样子。So far, you need to be very familiar with your entry. 你先必须把分录做得非常好。Otherwise, if you made the entry wrong, then the following are wrong. Okay, 所以会计有个很特别 ，they link together. So once you made a mistake for certain specific steps, 哪个步骤错了 ，the rest of are all wrong. Okay, so it should be, if you want to decide to be an accountant, then you ask yourself, are you a very careful person? Should be very cautious. 好，能够很谨慎。Okay, very cautious. Okay, next one. Fast Forward provides consulting services of 1,600 and rent its test facility for 300. Okay, here's a rent. It's not you rent something from somebody. Like the one here, rent expense, you rent office. But here the rent, you rent your something, test facility to someone else, so you make money. So we have 2 revenue here. 2 revenues here. One is from the service, one is from the renting your test facility. 就是 facility 是些设备，facility 跟 equipment 非常相似 ，OK， 好，所以这两个呢，就 totally you make $1,900 for the services. So actually, here are 2 entries. 好，这里面其实是2个分录。但是 since they happen with the one party, 好，跟对方是同一个人 at the same time, so you can combine 2 together. So what about the separate 2 entry? First one, okay, received cash, okay, received, provide consulting service. The customer, okay, I didn't finish the sentence. The customer is billed 1,900 for these services. Is billed, which means they just send the bill, no matter the paper bill or the electronic bill. 总而言之，他们才账单出去。So which means Fast Forward hasn't received cash yet. 还没有收到现金。Okay, so you cannot use cash for this entry. So what about is a account, something happened, but not yet, the cash not received yet. You have accounts receivable. Then normally we use AR later, okay? So that another one, you have revenue. 这位同学 ，revenue should go to debit or credit。Revenue go to debit or credit？ 不清楚，看这边的。所以 revenue is debit credit。
credit。
Good， 所以因为它在这一边 ，so 那再问你后面的同学 ，revenue asset liability equity， 如果我问你 revenue 它是属于 asset 还是 liability 还是 equity， 哪一大类？assets 会吗？又回到刚才一点了。当你擦掉，这就是一开始的时候，同学一直 confused。当你赚的帮这公司赚的钱赚是赚 ，you make cash, you may create some asset, but comparatively 相对的相对的 ，OK， 那他帮公司增加了他的权利，所以在这边看到没 ？Actually， 这个这边你们比较近，资产等于负债加权益，这里面有 capital 的问题，有 revenue 减去 expense 的问题。So I was just asking you, the revenue goes to which one of this? Actually, revenue and the minus expense, that's the operating result. 公司经营成果。你是老板 ，you are the owner, OK? You make money， 你希望知道你自己的身价有多高 ？What's your value? How do you know your value? You have original investment, which is capital, and during the time, the period of the operation， 在营业的过程中 ，you have positive or you have negative number, then you will create your value for equity. 所以 revenue 注意啊，revenue 是 goes to equity. Even the expenses is also goes to the equity because they are the operating result. The result goes to the equity. Okay, then why you put the expense here? Because we use a mathematic method. Okay, 我们之所以要定义左借右贷，我们是看到符号来做。OK， 但是你要知道，放在左边并不代表资产一定增加或减少，因为你要看它原来的位置。OK， 所以其实只要记住这一个 equation 是非常 easy 做借贷，不会有变化。OK，the first one, $1,600. Then you create what? Service revenue. Since revenue part of the equity, so that's why the right position is on credit. So this is the first one. Okay, then another one that's happening the same day and with the same customer. Okay, so you also have accounts receivable for rent revenue. Okay, now it's not a expense, it's a revenue for $300. So in this case, since they are happening on the same day, they are related with the same customer. So, and actually they have the same account on one side. So we can combine these two together with accounts receivable, $1,900. But here, they are different. You cannot combine. Okay, so we have service revenue and rent revenue individually, separately. Okay, so which means when you are making doing an entry， 当你做分录的时候 ，it's not necessary one on one side on debit and one on credit. You can have 3 debit and 1 credit. You can have 2 debit, 3 credit, as long as based on the double entry rule, as long as the total number, total debit and total credit should be equal. OK， 在双式簿记里面没有规定只能一左一右，一借一贷。OK， 看你的交易的性质，可能你左边借2个贷3个，借3个贷2个，但重点是总数字要总金额 total 起来的要一样。好，所以这个 number 8这个交易呢，就可以，它之所以会变成你们所看到的这样子，是因为它 originally coming from 2 separate entry transactions. Okay, then you total them combined together. So from here, you can also see the posting to different account, posting to different account. Okay, number 9, we're almost there, get there. Okay, done. So fast forward, we receive 1,900 cash from the client billed in transaction 8. So we just billed our customer. That's why we have accounts receivable. 我们寄了账单给你的客户，所以你的账户上目前在没收到钱之前是 accounts receivable 应收账款。When the money not received yet on your book, is the account name is accounts receivable 应收账款。But now you receive the cash, they pay you. They pay you, okay? When they pay you, which means you receive cash. 收到现金1900元 you receive cash. Okay? You get cash, so that's why you put on asset debit. Then, now important. Once you receive the cash, you don't need to collect money from your customer anymore. Okay? Right? So which accounts receivable will not exist anymore? 应收账款就不见了，因为你不用再跟他要钱了。You receive cash. How do you express? There's no accounts receivable. You just need to write it off. 把它撤销。Okay. How to write it off? You know, debit and credit, if it's the same account, they offset each other. 就会冲销。Okay. 所以 original is on debit, then I put on credit, which means they pay me. So after you have done this on your posting ledger, originally you post to here. Now you receive money, you post to here, which means then you have 0 balance. You don't need to ask the money from them anymore. Okay, so this is the expression when you want to offset certain account. 就是借房贷贷房借 offset. Okay, all right. So this is number 9. I think this is very important. The concept when you want to offset something, offset 冲销 something 的时候 then if original is the debit, then you put a credit, you put a debit. Then original is debit, then you put on the credit. Okay, 这样子就表达出来。Okay, all right. This is very important one. And next, partial payment. Okay, what about they pay you buy something very expensive or you sell something very expensive. So that's why they say, can I pay you, month by month, every month, or partially by a certain amount? 部分 partial 部分付款。So remember, there's a one transaction. The company pay the supply company. The total is how much? Oh, original one. Original, you can see the upright. Original, he purchased some supply with the credit sale. Credit purchase $7,100. Now this company decide to only pay off $900. $900. So when you pay something out, you reduce your cash. When you reduce cash, you put the cash on credit, $900. But since originally you owe somebody's money, here, you owe money, accounts, you see, where is, you owe somebody, you purchase supply on credit, so you owe them money, so you have liability, accounts payable. So originally, accounts payable is on credit. Now you want to cut it off for $900. So that's why the original liability from credit, now you move to debit, okay, with $900. So, which means originally $7,100. When you pay off partially money, then your balance goes to $7,200, which means you still owe them $6,200 because the balance of AP is this money. OK， 所以你要用这个 AP 放在借方来表达你已经把账清掉。To express that you pay off the money, this much money, from credit to debit. Okay, so this is also important transaction entry. Okay, almost the end. So, okay, now we're getting another new vocabulary, withdraw. Okay, if you say withdraw, W-I-T-H-D-R-A-W, that's a verb. You withdraw money from your ATM machine. But if you put the A-L after the word, it's a noun, withdraw. OK， 这边是中文翻出叫业主提取，业主提取钱，从公司提取钱。OK，for the business entity assumption, remember, business entity assumption 就是公司独立个体。If you are the owner, if you are the partner, you are allowed to withdraw certain assets from the company. But once you withdraw, your original capital or investment will reduce too. Okay? But if you are the corporation, then the investor, we call that shareholders. Shareholders are not allowed to withdraw anything from the company because their investment is straight on the market. Okay, they cannot get money from unless the company pay dividend, 鼓励 to the investor shareholder. Otherwise, not like the sole proprietorship 独资 or partnership 合伙人, this owner and partner, they may withdraw money from the company. We call that withdrawal, 就是业主提取, okay? Then, but for the corporation, is not allowed to do that. So, since here again, we have a withdrawal item. And this one is originally related to capital. Since that's a minus item, so we remove the minus, okay, to here, just like the expense. So which means whenever there's a withdrawal happen, then this one supposed go to debit because it's on the equation's left side. Okay, so now almost the last one. You have what's the name of that guy? Taylor. Withdraw. So make sure it's on debit. The right position is on debit. And withdraw what? Withdraw cash. What about T purchase some mobile phone, Apple 13, iPhone 13 from the company, then are you going to credit cash too? No, because when the company purchase mobile phone, for example, pen for the company for a certain specific purpose, then you record communication equipment, part of what kind of equipment. So when you withdraw, take one mobile phone away from the company, then you should put it here, equipment. Since the case here, he took the money from the company, withdraw cash, so that's why you have credit cash. It depends on what's the item the owner or the partner took away from the company. Okay, so here the value is $200. Okay, so here is the one for 11. You have a new word, withdraw. It should be on debit side. Then you decrease cash here. Okay, so we still have more. Let me see. Yeah. Why that long? Okay. Further one. The company received 3,000 cash in advance. This is keywords. Received $3,000 in advance before providing the consulting service to customer. It happens. Sometimes customers like to order in advance because they might get some discount. You pay first, then if you can pay today, I will give you 5% discount. If you can buy 3 months service, then I give you 10%, which means they have to pay you before the service really happened. Okay, so fast forward receive 6,000 cash in advance before they really provide service. So we call that what? We have a new term, unearned revenue. Okay, something might become revenue later when you fulfill your obligation. Okay, so but at the time you receive the money, you say, I receive cash. I think most of you should not have any problem with that. When you receive money, you put on debit. When you pay off the money, you put on the credit. So there's no problem, you receive $3,000. But the real problem is, what would you say about that you received revenue in advance? So we gave the new word, unearned. You might want service revenue or just revenue. Service revenue. But here you see the word revenue. That's not real revenue here. Not yet. Okay, it's unearned. You haven't made the revenue, haven't made it happen. 所以这个预收服务收入，虽然你看到收入这两个字，但它不是真的收入哦。And it just happened they both are on the right side and on the credit. OK， 服务收入类本来就在贷方，因为它是权益类。但是预收服务呢，它是个负债，因为你收了钱，你要欠他的服务，所以你还有责任要尽，所以它是 liability， 但所以它也正好是在右边，所以它也是 credit。So this revenue is not really revenue。好，特别注意 ，this is liability。这个两个要搞清楚哈。这个 unearned 的预收收入是负债。它不是权益类 ，OK， 还没有发生。好，这个题目 very important，OK，very important。好 ，let's move on。好，在下面一个呢，就是 fast forward pay 2,400 cash insurance premium。什么叫做 insurance premium 这个字啊？在保险里面几乎都用这个字。比如说我们今天付保险费。不能说，我付了 insurance cash， 我们通常收的那个保险金或配出去的金，人家给你的账单那个字都叫 premium 啊，不是一个 cash 或者是什么之类的，这个字要常常看到在商科里面。OK， 所以呢，他付了 paid 2,400 cash for insurance premium for the coming 24 months insurance policy. Normally, if you buy insurance, then of course you have to pay in advance. Okay, for the certain period. Okay, so here is 2 year, 24 months. Then coverage begins on December 1st. December 1st. So this is what? Prepaid. 也就是说，我今天付了2400块钱，接下来24个月，如果 something bad happen, then I have the right to get the coverage. Okay, so you have the right to receive whatever on the contract. Okay, 所以这个时候 you have the right for this $2,400 for the next 24 months. Then this money is your assets. Okay, asset. So then what's the word for this one? We have something, obligation, we call that unearned. Then we have something for the right. Then you get the word is for prepaid. So prepaid insurance. For $2,400, then you pay with cash. Insurance do not give you credit. Insurance you just have to pay cash. 没有人会让你用欠账的在保险费用，所以 definitely is cash. So which means how much for month? If you allocate to 24 months, the total amount is $2,400. Then you have to write for 24 months, which means each month will have the right of $100. 2,400 divided by 24, 每个月就是100块。意思说你经过1个月你就用掉100块的权利，这个部分要先了解。Okay, so we have a new terms here. So do you feel the difference between chapter 2 and chapter 1? Actually, it's the same example, the transaction. 我们现在所讲的这个交易跟第一章是一模一样。But what's the difference? When you were in chapter 1, then it only indicate will increase asset or increase liability or reduce something. You have the whole sheet with the plus and the minus. 那个时候在 chapter 1， 可是那个时候我就告诉你 ，actually you should learn the whole sheet to become a entry like this one. Okay. 事实上，我们都在讲钱，你不觉得很 similar example 吗 ？Same transaction. Okay. Now this is real something you need to do. Say you are an accountant. Okay. Okay. 13. Prepaid insurance total amount 24, and you pay with cash. You pay with cash. Then purchase supplies for cash. I think that should be very easy. Why they put here? This example doesn't mean anything. So again, purchase this is a very easy one. Purchase supplies with 120 with cash. 现在 do you feel even though I say it's a so easy transaction, but ask yourself, 这个14个这么简单，买东西用现金，但你会吗？ Okay, 当我在讲这个例子的时候，说this is so easy. Then for you, do you really think it's an easy example? Then if you were the one, you know you can do that for debit supply and credit cash. 因为你用120块钱去买了一样东西，现在一样啊。如果再问你说，我付了水电费好 ，utility bill and $1,000. 那你要怎么写？问问看自己。我的 give you example Another case. You receive the utility bill, 水电费, then you pay 1,000 today. If that's the one, what will do on your journal book? You have utility expense. Then 你怎么写? Kevin, do you know how to do that? If there's a utility $1,000 you pay by today, what are you going to put on your book?
You debit utilities.
Debit what?
Utility expense.
Utility expense.
Yes.
Then you credit.
Cash.
Yeah, so easy. So 慢慢 you're getting closer to how to express, just use accounting language to express the transaction. Okay? Then because Kevin has learned before, so of course he should be right. But what about the others? 你们其他人呢？像我刚才的例子就很简单，对不对？来，我们继续，我们会有继续做不断的练习，我觉得这更重要。Next one, pay 230 cash for the word's coming, utility bill. 这个是一个新的单字。Utility bill covers water bill and electronic bill, but it's not covering the internet. 电包含网络 ，OK， 就是电 electricity and water bill 这两样 ，that is not covering the gas either. 好 ，utility bill 只有水电费，不包含瓦斯费，也不含网络费。So when someday you want to rent a house, apartment, wherever you go, then you ask, what's the utility bill averagely? 在平均每月的，那你指的是水和电 ，OK? Utility bill here. Okay, utility is an expense, so easily it should be on the debit. Utility I'm not going to spell. And the pay usually with cash. So the total is 230. Then this is also an easy one. So I'm not explaining anymore. So why we don't get to the end? Okay, payment of expense in cash. Okay, so what happened here? Oh, this is good example. Okay, we had example of salaries payable. Remember that? Oh, this is not that case. Okay. Fast forward pay 700 cash in employee's salary for work performed in the latter part of December. Anyway, they pay cash right away. So this one should be easy. Easy. You have salary, expense, and pay with cash right away. So it's $700. Okay, finally we get it done. Okay, so we have 16 transactions. Then important thing is you need to know how to write entry for different transactions. So we're going to do more exercises, practicing from your exercise work. Okay, 我们会再继续拿后面练习来做。Okay, so this is all about. So here is the comparison between the normal ledger. So remember you are doing the posting to the individual cash. So it will indicate the date and the description and for the debit and credit. So for each posting will come out the update balance. But what about there are 20, 30, 40 posting for each individual ledger, then it's so complicated. So that's why in class for regular practicing, 我们一般在练习的时候，我们就T字账，所以这就是 T 字账。You have what is T account? Now easy to tell. You have an account name here, then you make a T, big T. Okay, the left side like here you have 30,000 then you have 420 something. It's not necessary, for example, we have 25 here, a different day, so you put it here, then it's on different day, so you put it on here. You don't need to make a space here. You don't need to make space here. For T account, you just squeeze everything, debit, credit, then you get a balance. So continuously, you put on the right place. So here, so you total the debit, you total the credit, then you get a balance over here. So that's the balance 余额 for each account. Okay, 所以 T account is easier and is especially for in-class practice or you communicate with someone else. But the journal is more formal. 好，那个日记簿账比较正式，但 T 字账是平常练习哦。你会发现 T 字账 is really good tool， 很好的工具。Later on you learn more things. Then especially if you're accounting, you have a chance. Actually, I really encourage 我们的 business student, you should learn besides the principal accounting. 你们将来不一定会去读 accounting 这个 area， 但是你们现在修 accounting, principal accounting 初会 then I really encourage you later on you have a chance to learn cost accounting 成本会计. Both knowledge will help you do the business very much. 它对你将来做生意很重要。Cost accounting or manager accounting, that course is very important too. OK， 好。那所以呢，当 if you someday you learn the cost accounting, then you see how easy you know the T account. 因为我们在算成本的时候，这个时候从材料 from the material to working process， 我们在制造过程中的成本累计 ，then finally the final product the cost 一个制成品的成本。If you don't have the concept of T account, then it really give you trouble. So T account is a very useful tool. OK， 在所有的在会计里面 T 字账 OK， 它的 detailed description OK after you do the posting. OK， I think I'm not. Do you prefer to do it now when you still have memory, or you want to save later? Now, next time. 想要现在做2至4，还是等到下一次做？现在你还有记忆的时候做财务题。好了，做完了。Let's go to 很快啊，就只有5个题目。I forgot to ask you to do the roll call. 要点名，很讨厌。我们先来个 roll call 好了，在我忘记之前。你们喜欢 QR 还是喜欢 number？Number。找不到。Okay, 3817.
Can you repeat?
3817. Oh, how come you don't see that from the screen? 3817.乔涵是哪一位？张乔涵。哦，你前面常常缺课哦，注意一下哦。哎，张文宪是不是也常没出现？张文宪哪一位？
我每节都来。
啊？
他都有来，
都有来哦。因为我今天好像看到什么数字，如果有错误，不要在意。